Well, welcome to the Expansive Vodcast. We are here yet again in a very hot studio.
It is very hot.
And if you can see strange things going on with the green screen at the behind, it's because there is strange things going on the green screen behind. So we have some special guests today that we were just about to call, and we've kept them waiting for a very long time, and we're very, very sorry. And it's his fault. We had some technical problems as well, so mainly the lighting and
that didn't arrive because I wasn't here,
and the heat,
and the air conditioning failed, and we're all very.
Well, it didn't
happy.
fail; it just heated the room up.
Yeah,
which
we
is
are
impressive.
If you see us slightly it's not the camera's not going up. If we're getting shorter, we're just melting into the chair.
Abominable snowmen.
And if there's any glare off of our faces, we don't have makeup.
I'll just wipe my brow. Right.
Or they've made a comment about how I'm the Hulk out of all of us. That'll be a glare situation as well.
Right, we are going to call these lovely people.
You wrecked this.
And,
it was a scenery wrecking comment, honestly.
Welcome to the Expansive Vodcast. To Adam and Russ. Adam Woods is from Frontier Developments, and they're working on Elite Dangerous currently. So, hello, Adam.
Hello.
And Russ Clarke, who's working on TerraTech, which is a lovely little indie game that's all about creation of. I'm trying to think how to describe it. It's probably best if Russ.
Mech.
Mech.
It's like mech Lego, but like awesome. It's like awesome.
All kinds of random things.
Yeah.
and lots of physics and things like that.
Yeah, it's probably best if you explain.
Yeah, should we? So, yeah. It's a good start.
We'll just guess, and then he'll tell you exactly what it is.
Has it got emus in it?
So Neil's available for any trailers that you want to film.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
He does
guys? It's a
ad-libbing.
football game. You're not paying attention.
It's a football game.
It might well be. It might well be. So, but yes, hello Russ. Welcome to the vodcast.
Hey guys, great to be here.
If we talk about what we've been playing, so games that we've been playing. I don't know if you guys actually have time to play games these days.
Well, actually, I've been playing TerraTech.
Glad to hear
Elite
it.
Dangerous.
I did try the demo actually. I did. It was going.
I saw it at the. Where did you send me? Rezzed.
We sent you to Rest.
Yeah. I saw someone on it. It was building
Baffers.
quite a beefy machine with flames and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Flames
Yeah.
are good.
Flames are well.
Maybe not today.
No.
Anyway.
Yes.
Anyway, so Adam, have you been playing many games recently?
Do you know what? Sadly, I haven't. I've got nothing to add here. I've been playing Elite, obviously, and I say I've been playing Elite outside of actually working on it. I've had a few evening runs where I've just fired up the live build and got online with the backers, and had a great time. And like completely taken my developer hat off, just had a really good time playing with them. Other than that, no, sadly not.
But you've been playing Elite, so that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, no, not at all.
So,
I didn't mean to sound. I've only been playing bloody Elite. No.
So
Have you been a pirate or a bounty
You know
hunter?
what? They've got a lot better since the last time I went on, and
Oh,
I've
really?
had
Is there
to
some
sort of
poning
train-
happening?
I've taken the peaceful route and tried my hand at trading now instead.
Oh, you're running the rat race in the game. That's.
I've fallen into the humdrum of the 9 to 5.
how about you, Russ? Have you had time to play any games at all?
It's been a real struggle, to be honest. The last game that I've played very much was Dark Souls 2. That series is very much my poison, so I put a bit of time into it. But I keep promising myself to have another session on that, and I just can't find the time recently.
Kudos for trying it, to be fair.
Yeah, I haven't gone near Dark Souls.
No.
I
will.
have Demon Souls, and I've literally gone nowhere. I've died a lot.
Yeah, one of my favourite games is Theme Hospital, so I really can't sort of get on with Dark Souls. It's terrifying and there's too many buttons. Do you know what I mean? With Theme Hospital, you've got a click, point and click. It's wonderful. With Dark Souls, it's we talked about this last time. I didn't want because you've got to choose what sword you have your left hand in, or you can have it in your right hand, or is he cack-handed? Like, what is the best method to go with? I I just hit him. I've got something coming at me. It needs a slap. Let's just do that. Where's the slap button?
There's a thing in Theme Hospital that always makes me laugh, and that's patients, please refrain from dying in the corridors.
It's great. I think
the humour.
It's kind of close to the knuckle, really, isn't it?
What have I been playing? I've been playing the Wolf Among Us on the iPhone of all things.
Is that like a massive wolf, like a wolf among us?
Yeah. You get to play a wolf among
us.
Among us, yeah.
You Midland people that pronounce your G's.
Wouldn't that be ironic?
So it's quite it's from Telltale, a similar sort of game to The Walking Dead, the adventure stuff. I've really enjoyed it. I think it's very good. The last episode is due out very soon, if not today or this weekend sometime. I've played the other 4 and I've just been completely, got to finish this particular one. So yeah, it's really, really cool. Really, really cool.
Awesome.
How about you? What have you?
I've been playing Imposters.
Imposters.
Which is fantastic. Gotham City Imposters. Okay. It's such a fun little game.
Does that became a free one on Gold recently?
Of course it did. I don't pay for games. It came available on Xbox Live. I was like, oh yeah, I'll get on that. The one game they give away a month. The one after, you expect them to give away like sort of. It's a good game. I didn't think it was like as good as. They normally give away one crap one and one really good one. And the Imposters is good, but it was never like a big hit.
Yeah.
And they've given them, I don't know what the next one is, like some kind of block theatre or something. I don't know. Pants. But yeah, Imposters, fun little game, hilarious little lines from people, like little cheeky lines. It's good.
All people dressed up as Batman or various...
Yeah, like dodgy Batmen and dodgy Jokers. It's awesome.
I did play it briefly for a little while. I'm trying to think why I didn't know. I don't know. Anyway, Andy, what have you been playing?
Lego Batman 2 on the Vita.
And you finished it?
Was that after or before school?
I am slightly ashamed to admit this. This was also a download, but on PS Plus on the Vita, and I not only finished it, I then went back through it again and got the Platinum Trophy.
We had a bit of a Twitter conversation about it last night.
I got told off.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's move on then. So we do have special guests, and they're waiting very patiently in the background while we talk to each other about wonderful games. So who would like to start, or are you happy to just go with the flow this evening?
Well, they can't just talk at the same time. You've got to control this.
There's not even video direction now. I mean, damn you, technology. So, if we go with Russ then. So, I'm here. Tell us a bit about your background, because I believe you've been involved in quite a few AAA games in the past.
Well, maybe one.
Okay.
I've been in the business about 16 years. My first title was Carmageddon 2. I joined Stainless straight out of college and got to work on that, which is pretty awesome. Left an indelible mark on my psyche in some way, I'm sure. And then I moved around a bit for a while after that, and I ended up in 2005 at Ideaworks Game Studio in London, now better known as Marmalade. And I stayed there for like 7 years. So that was a mobile-focused cross-platform development studio. So I got to work. I joined there as a programmer and sort of moved up and ended up actually shifting across into the creative director role in the studio. And during the course of that, got to work on a lot of AAA franchises, but doing mobile games. So it'd be a bit of a stretch probably to call it AAA. But some pretty cool stuff. Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, Call of Duty, things like that. It was a lot of fun.
So these were mobile titles, you said? Or?
They were mobile titles, yeah. We had some pretty sort of leading edge 3D rendering technology, well, certainly for 2005. And so we were doing 3D mobile games before it was cool, as I always like to say. And that's how we got in to do some of the big brands, is because there weren't very many other people who just had the capability to do that. So we made the first mobile Call of Duty game, for example, which was our adaptation of the zombies mini game from Call of Duty World at War. They did pretty well.
What platforms are these on?
So these were cross-platform mobile games, primarily iOS because that was the biggest platform, but also Android versions. Actually, the first couple I did, like Metal Gear Solid, this was before iOS, so they were on Symbian phones, Nokia's, and some KDDI phones in Japan and Verizon in the US. Before there was a market for it, really. But so they were interesting for, I guess, technical competence rather than actual sales figures, because there wasn't really a market there.
It was good to be able to flex your creativity and development knowledge on these different platforms, though.
Yeah, it's a great experience, and it's awesome, being able to work directly with some of the people involved in the original games. Doing Metal Gear Solid, I got to meet Kojima-san, and we worked with a couple of the people from Kojima Productions who are, just very impressive people to work with, it has to be said. It's an amazing experience.
That's pretty cool.
there's
an airplane. There's a tiny airplane running around here somewhere. Sorry to...
It's not that fly again, is it?
That might be me, actually. I've got my window open.
Well, that's fine. We've got everything.
So don't worry, the Boeing Fly 7.
Boeing Fly 7. We have everything open here. Well, Adam, let's jump to you. I want to talk about. Obviously, we did talk a little while ago on another podcast, and I'm not going to be ashamed to say it. We were on This Is My Joystick, and we spoke on that podcast, and
the nominated one,
the GMA nominated,
yeah, that one.
Here we go again.
And
just to make sure,
just to make sure everybody knows that's the fact. And obviously we talked about quite a few different things, and a lot of things you wouldn't answer as well because they were a little bit edgy at the time. So we steer clear of those again, and we're going for new features. What new features has Elite Dangerous got because the beta's out now?
It is, yeah. Well, so the premium betas are out now. We're working on the first standard beta at the moment, which is due out at the end of this month. What the new features that have been put in the game since the last time I spoke to you guys? I suppose the big call-out ones were travel, trade, and the galaxy map. So before you couldn't do any trading, so it kind of wasn't the whole tool set of Elite, as it were. But now we've got the commodities market, which is it's affected by all the players as well. So all the prices of all the different commodities that you can trade in are all affected by players' volume. So if they're taking lots of tea, for example, you can trade in tea if you want to. That was one of the requests of one of the backers. They wanted to do like a tea dynasty.
Do you work for Twinings?
Why not?
So if everyone takes those sorts of that commodity out of one of the starports, then the prices will be affected for everyone. The demand will go up because the stock levels are down, and everything changes. So it's kind of one of the small examples of how the evolving galaxy that everyone is in is going to work, if that makes sense. Holding the players' decisions and choices, and then giving that to everyone, regardless of you being in one of the shards, which is one of the technical things of pooling players together.
So trading tea. Why would somebody want tea?
It's just a British thing.
Why would you not want tea?
It's the most British thing.
Yeah, the other big commodity they've been recently trading is fish.
Fish and tea.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think fish was quite profitable. There was a trade route that was returning quite a good profit. So people pick up on this, and then it goes a bit viral, as for want of a better word.
Is there a particular type of tea and a particular kind of fish, or is it just generalisation?
No, it's just general tea.
Is there a stock market? I mean, does it rise? Does the price of tea? Can you get in the coffee market? I mean, I want to get in there straight away. That seems to be doing well.
Yeah, exactly that, Dave. Yeah, exactly. So if people start to take a lot of the tea out of one of the stations, then if you bring tea into that station, you're going to get a better profit because their stock levels are low.
Okay.
So it's not quite stock market, but it's kind of that idea that prices will change based on what the players are doing.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting to see that playing out. We've got the whole set of travel mechanics now as well. So before you could do hyper jumps, but they were kind of a placeholder effect, as it were. And so now you can do full hyper jumps with the full suite of beautifulness as you travel to the new system. And one of the features that we discussed with the alpha backers back in the day, because it feels like a long time ago now, was how to get around when you're in the system. So obviously the Galaxy is mapped 1-to-1. We don't shrink any of the sizes down, which causes problems when even the fastest ship can only travel at 500 meters a second. In space, that's not very fast. So we've got a thing called Super Cruise, where you can break the speed of light, basically. So you can go up to, I think if you can get out of all the mass locking potential values of the planets and bodies and ships, you can get up to about 2,000 times the speed of light, which is incredibly fast.
I think Albert would have a couple of things to say about that.
He sure would, but thankfully he wasn't. He's not consulting us on this.
Yeah,
one.
He's retired now or something. I don't know what.
Retired.
Yeah.
quite
Very
with
retired.
the Yetis.
Yeah, there's a few reasons behind it. Notably, one of them is that to have the multiplayer side of it, you can't shrink time dilation between players because obviously everyone needs to be in the same time zone, as it were. So we just, we bend the rules slightly and let people go very, very fast. But it makes for some incredible visuals and footage, because then you can move around planets really quickly and get a sense of their size, because obviously in normal mode, it takes literally days, weeks, months to get around some of these planets because they're so big.
Yeah.
But in Super Cruise, you can fly around them and get some incredible vistas of the planets flying by you and things. So, yeah, that's gone down very well, that feature in particular.
That's really cool.
We've got some new ships, and we've opened up some of the systems in the Galaxy map as well. So, yeah, that was the other thing. Part of the travel was to have Galaxy map. So we have a few layers of the map. The first one's Galaxy, which is based on the star systems, and then you have in-system maps. At the moment, the players have got their hands on the Galaxy map, and it's incredible seeing that thing, because it really shows the scale of the Milky Way, because you can start at your star that you are in, or the star system that you're in, and then slowly zoom out with the mouse wheel, and all the layers start building up, and you see more and more stars, and suddenly there is the Milky Way in its glory. So it's pretty exciting stuff to see this stuff come together,
Awesome.
Well, TerraTech, I'd love to know what the influences are for TerraTech. You've got kind of the base building things that you've talked about on your site, and you've also hinted, maybe more than hinting, about the sort of combat and that's going to be within the game itself. But could you talk about the influences of the game?
Yeah, so I guess all of us on the team, have always been fans of sandbox kind of games. Even long before sandbox was a term that people used, those kind of games that kind of gave you a toy box of things to play with and didn't prescribe too heavily how you played with it. And that possibly goes all the way back to Lego, something that we all played as kids. And an influence that a lot of people can see when they play the game. The vision. I mean, there were games that we were playing at the time that we were starting to put this together. Some sort of survival crafting kind of things. I was playing Don't Starve quite a lot at the time. I don't know if you know that one.
Yeah, I know that very well.
Wonderful survival crafting game from Client Entertainment.
They're making it multiplayer soon as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they've worked.
I'll have to book out some time for that.
My family are very happy. My kids and that.
Because you'll be locked away in a room.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be wheeled out for just lunch. Yeah. So Don't Starve. Yeah.
And I guess another thing that is a common factor in a lot of games that all of us have really enjoyed is physics. When you say physics, it sounds sciencey and maybe a bit boring, but a reasonably realistic simulation of the physical world actually creates something that's immensely intuitive that anyone can understand. Who's been alive for a while and learned how the world works roughly.
Yeah.
We're
kind of stuck to it, aren't we? Without it,
Was that
we're floating.
an awful pun?
Yes, it was. Sorry, carry on.
I do apologise, Russ. He's got it like every 10 minutes there's just one, and then we move on. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't get out often.
It's okay. So I guess those are the kind of elements really that were common to a lot of the games. I mean, for me personally, I would say as well, the games that have always really stayed with me are the ones where the idea of discovery is a real theme, where it's not just about going, along a progression. It's about discovering what you can do, whether it's exploring or experimenting with the system, those kind of simulation games. So those are the kind of things I think that were in our minds when we were in the early stages of developing this. And it's really, it's kind of grown from experimentation with a basic set of mechanics that seem to work, and then just being led by what worked as we tried out different things and just added to it steadily.
Okay. What about your favourite feature of the game that you've got? Maybe you haven't implemented yet. Maybe there's something that you're.
Well, yeah. I mean, there are so many features that I'm really excited about. I think my personal favourite is one of the ones that we've been noodling around with for a while, but haven't fully released to the public, which is the resource harvesting and carrying and processing mechanics. We've periodically kind of showed teasers, and we've included some of the mechanics in the demos we've released, but we haven't really kind of released a proper version of that. But I have spent a fair bit of time trying to tune this so that it's not just about gathering up some stuff and taking it back to a base and turning on the refinery. The basic mechanic of picking up and carrying things is designed to be quite flexible and modular. You have these things called tractor pads, which have a sort of futuristic energy beam that will pick up one or more objects and hold it, and then you can drive your vehicle with the tractor pads along. And if you park it up next to something else that's got another tractor pad, then it will pass along. And so these tractor pads, if you line them up and connect them, you can kind of build your own conveyor belt system out of building blocks. And there's some simple rules that define when an object will be passed from one tractor to another tractor. And using those rules, you can actually build up reasonably complex machines that will do different things depending on what other bits you add. And then on top of that basic mechanic, you have more specialized features that we add with specific blocks which build on that feature. So a refinery has a tractor pad built into it, but it has rules about which things it will accept, and then it will take things in and it will turn them into a different thing and then pass it back out again. And then a factory block is a similar kind of concept, but it will take in multiple inputs and it will actually turn it into a new thing rather than refining. That's how you build new components for your vehicles without just stealing them from defeated enemies. And we have a bunch of other variants on this theme, a thing that will break down pieces into their component resources so that you can recycle them, a thing that turns any kind of biofuel-based resource into energy that you can then use to recharge the health on your blocks and give some shielding around your base and so on. So we've been messing around with this for a while, and it's quite interesting. But as with everything else we've done, it's only going to be when we put this in the hands of players and see what they start doing with it that we'll really find out what it's capable of. So I'm very excited about getting to that point just to see what people come up with.
So with the base building side of it, are you perhaps looking at probably oversimplifying a kind of a Command and Conquer style?
That's why I had like a red alert, like sort of Tiberian refinery, but mixed in with a Legos. Well, I don't know. A
configurable Command and Conquer.
You're right.
Sorry.
Yeah, there are elements of that, definitely. Command and Conquer, I mean, it was Command and Conquer, I think, that always had the really nice animations when you built buildings where they would kind of unfold. And we want to have a bit of that in the animation for when your craft first has planetfall and opens up on the planet's surface. Another game that people bring up quite a lot is Total Annihilation, with the kind of theme of like shiny metallic units on on a virgin planet.
Sorry about that outburst there. You just mentioned one of my favourite games of all time.
Sorry, Dave was being a bit...
Yes, yeah, Total Annihilation. Yeah, that's another... Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely a favourite of mine as well.
So at the moment, the demo is only a kind of a very small glimpse of what's possible in your environment, within your game, the gameplay and that type of thing. But it doesn't really go into any of the base building or any additional AI. There might be some enemy AI which goes on there, but there's no kind of friendly AI. Is that how this game's going to go, or is it more about the individual players' kind of involvement, being more involved and exploring the environment?
Yeah, so the demo is sort of deliberately focuses in on a small set of core mechanics that we wanted to get people playing with and stress test. It focuses on building and combat, and you just have this sort of repeat loop where you fight, take some bits and rebuild, and then fight some more, and so on. So it's a very rarefied set of the mechanics. But there are some major other dimensions that we're working on and that we're waiting for the right time to start releasing. The base building is one of them. Fixed place buildings they're constructed in exactly the same way as vehicles. They're just building block things, but you stick them into the ground instead of driving them around on wheels. And in fact, once you've built your buildings, there's nothing stopping you from sticking some wheels on it or some rockets on it and just moving it off somewhere else if that's what you want to do.
It's the natural progression.
Yeah, that's what you want to do, right? I would certainly want to do that with my house.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
You can move it to Bournemouth for the summer months.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless. Yeah. So that's a big thing that's coming up. And another thing you mentioned was in terms of AI and the player. Because we've consciously limited the initial demo to being one vehicle that you modify. A lot of people assume that that's what the game is going to be, but actually there isn't any built-in limit to how many vehicles you control. We have features to allow you to switch between them. So if you like the strategic kind of almost RTS style gameplay, the game can go that way if you steer in that direction, as it were. Yeah. Because you can make multiple cabs, which is the little bit with the windscreen and the wheels that the driver notionally sits in.
You can set them to do a job, and they will go off and do that for you while you do something else. Is that
exactly? You can give them all orders, and then you can just jump between them and control one at a time. And the orders can be mechanical things like go and mine some rocks, and then you tell another unit to go back and forth between the miner and the base, just delivering stuff. Or they can be more responsive things like if you want to go off on a big sort of sortie mission, you could build 3 little drones and tell them all to follow you, and then drive off, and then you've got some wingmen that will try and support you if you get in trouble. And of course, if one of them is in the thick of the combat, there's nothing stopping you from just switching your focus immediately to that and controlling that if you want to take manual control. So it's going to be very open-ended and very open to different styles of play, different approaches, depending on what people like doing.
That sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome, and I think the demo doesn't do it the justice that it really needs, to be honest. I think I played through the demo and I felt it needed a bit more on the base building side to kind of give me an idea of how the game was going to progress. Because this is a pre-alpha, to be fair, yeah. So it's just to give you an idea of how things are going to be put together and so on and so forth. But certainly keeping up with the updates they put on Kickstarter and on the website, on the TerraTech website, you can see everything they're working on. And I'm talking about Russ as if he's not in the room.
Absolutely.
So, because it's something quite important.
Technically he's not in the room.
Well, it's a good point. Yeah, Russ is not in the room, figuratively. So David Braben, he's got an OBE.
He got an OBE. Yes.
Not only is he amazingly intelligent and very clever and creates Raspberry Pis and becomes
official battle entertainer.
He's
Finally, I know what it stands for now.
Queenie's into her
Queenie.
into her games.
I reckon she's got Raspberry Pi.
an image of her now with like a one of those war tables they had in World War II, moving little pieces around.
Oh no, she's on Minecraft, mate. She's she's made
She's
Buckingham
done.
Palace, and she's made some extra stuff that she can't like get because it's the taxpayers' money, and now that's a thing. So, she's just adding like
She's
sort of
more done with
extra
the kids than I
wings
am.
and yeah.
Corgis in block form. I think that's pretty funny.
They only come out at night though. That's what you have to hide from.
Yeah.
They hang around
That's
with the end of it.
Prince William.
Oh, it's easy. Right. They're on to us. So he's got an OBE. He was honoured by in the Queen's birthday honours list. That's right. It's so hot.
It is really hot. It's right. The lights are off now.
We
The
turned
filming
lights
is down. The filming's gone down. His camera's packed up. I think it's too hot.
To be fair, I beat the filming. I've melted.
off. You've been-
Yeah, I'm fine.
Luckily,
I'm fine with
we're
not
still
filming.
recording, so we are podcasting in fantastic form. So the OBE, how did it make everybody feel? Obviously, David's probably very, 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 very chuffed, to say the least. But how about the team? Did he?
Yeah,
did he come back?
he was very chuffed, obviously, but he was also very modest with it, and he actually.
What a waste!
We'll say again.
What a waste!
What a waste! You get an OBE and he's all modest about it. I'll be like, hey!
I mean,
Flicking the V's.
he was also very thankful and grateful of the team and of Frontier as a company, and understanding and recognising that, that had a part to play as well. So, from a team's point of view, obviously we were over the moon for him. For getting the recognition that he deserves in all his endeavours, not just in games, like you guys say. He founded Raspberry Pi. He's a great believer in education and the sciences of education, and kind of getting computer science back in the classrooms, which is going to be great for all of us because we need that. But it was also great for Frontier as a company, obviously, because it brings us into the limelight more, which you can't have enough of that. And we even had a little party to celebrate with the 3 important Bs: beer, burgers, and burritos.
Burritos. Oh.
Burritos, yeah. We have a now
Mountain
in
of
Mexico. I don't know if it's a chain or not, but there's a store in Cambridge that do really good burritos. So we had them come round and cook some burritos, and had this gourmet burger van and loads of beers on a nice warm afternoon, just to have a little bit of pat on the back, So it was great. Yeah.
Gourmet burger van as well.
Very
Gourmet
nice.
burger van. They were incredible. They were incredible.
Is that like
I don't think they were.
gourmet burger kitchen, but like on wheels?
Yeah, they've got
It's-
this little like 1940s Citroen
I think
French
I've
van
seen
that
that.
they've
Already?
into a burger van.
They're not
it's-
like fans of
yeah,
TerraTech and have just put
it's a
wheels
bit
on the
weird,
side.
but go and after the show, Google Cambridge Gourmet Burger Van.
We will.
Oh, yeah.
And we're coming down.
Yeah.
McDonald's,
But it's a van. We don't need to go down. We can get it to come to us.
McDonald's.
It's got wheels. It can come to us.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
That's the whole point of it being a van.
TerraTech style. He put some rockets on the back. Happy days.
Yeah,
I want a Citroen rocket van now.
you do. There's
Rocket van. Sorry.
Love it.
There's no need for Elton John.
He might argue with you.
well, we're back on video now, so we might be able to all edit it into
So now we don't just sound tired and sweaty.
we look it. We were in the dark, had to switch it all back on, and we're back in. Next question, because obviously time's ticking on. Console version of Elite. Now, as trusty PS4 owners, and himself,
As somebody who doesn't own a PC at the moment, although I plan to fix it.
and David Braben OBE commented at Develop recently. At
Is
the
it Sir
Develop
David
conference.
now?
Is
Lord
it Sir?
David?
Lord, I
Yes.
don't know. OBE is David.
OBE,
Sir is knighted.
Yeah.
Is it a knight
You
thing? So
just
it's like
get
a
to
Sir
put
David.
OBE on the end of your name. He wasn't knighted, he was.
Obby.
We should have more Sir Davids.
Obby.
Huh?
Obby.
Obby.
They just call him Obby.
DB Obby. Wasn't that a game? Oh, that's Ode. Abe.
Probably
dear.
could be now.
Oh God. So David turned around at Develop and did say that it would be silly not to develop a console version. So when's the release date?
Yeah, we agree, by the way.
You know I'm going to say no comment on that.
I think last time you said strike
in all honesty,
one.
I think the focus has been PC. That's what we're doing at the moment, you know. It's all about the PC version of it. Then shortly after that, I'll be Mac. And in the future, like David says, you know, would be naive not to look at the consoles and see where they are and what we can do.
Sure. Just extending on the PC side of it, I read something a little bit earlier about the nature of Elite Dangerous, that you're going to try and make it so it's future proof.
I wondered if that would come up. Yeah, I saw that article as well on Eurogamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been quite a bit come out of developed last week.
Are they making it up? Or?
Yeah, so this is something that harks back to our Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 days, in fact, which I think is he mentioned in that article, where, you know, that game pushed the workstations of the day that people didn't have access to. And the reason to try and cram all that stuff in, even though, I don't know, you know, sort of only 10% of the people would have been able to kind of experience level 11, as it were, to go Spinal Tap, was that you can then you enjoy a natural tale of the game still looking really good for a large amount of people as the years progress. You know, I mean, Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 was still, I think it hit the top of the budget charts last year, and that's, you know, it's 10 years old at that point. But people are playing it at detail level 11 on laptops now, you know, on tiny little devices that they can just take with them and go and have a great time and still get not the cutting edge graphics, but it still looks pretty good for its age.
Yeah.
And that's an ethos that we've carried on into Elite Dangerous as well. So, you know, we're looking at lots of cutting edge technology and ways of making
extending upon
the game look great, which not everyone, you know, might be able to turn on into full detail. A lot of people are, because a lot of people are spending lots of money on new machines for this game, which is awesome. And it will just it kind of increases its I'm pretty life shelf, you know.
So what we're talking about, things being expensive. So the beta is £100.
It is.
Now
what?
Well, no, hang on.
I personally don't see an issue with this. I don't see an issue, but carry on. Yeah. The premium beta that is available at the moment is £100, which is what you can buy, and that includes all the lifetime expansion pass as well. So for the future expansions such as planetary landings, etc., you'll get that as when it's released, if that makes sense. So you don't have to put any more money out. Yeah.
The standard beta, which doesn't include that pass, is £50. Just to clarify the difference between the two.
And you can get both of those now, so you can.
So you can pre-order the beta, but we haven't released that version yet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
what we're working on at the moment.
Right.
But that doesn't come with the lifetime passes.
And the reason for it really is to try and temper the flow of people on the servers while you're getting
we didn't want we didn't want hundreds of thousands of people, if the potential was there, to kind of be on the alpha and just giving us either so much information that you can't really kind of get a sense of what the feedback sort of generally is.
Yeah.
But also I'm guilty of it, where I back a game to the kind of alpha level, but then I never actually play it, or I play it for 5 minutes and then I'll never go back to it again. So, and that's me coming in at sort of £30, 25, 30, £35 kind of mark. So I think if you invest a little bit more, people are probably more likely to carry on playing it and actually be part of the development, which is what we wanted from these kind of guys.
But you've got quite a few thousand people on this servers at the moment. Did I see a quote about 20 to 30,000 or something like that? Is that an accurate figure?
I don't know the figures of the actual figures. I think it's, so at the moment, I think it's something like over 15,000 people are now at the stage where they can download the game and play.
Right, okay.
The premium beta level.
Cool.
The other thing to mention is that the prices were set during the Kickstarter phase as part of the reward tiers, and that's kind of just carried on through to where we are now. So it's almost like a kind of Kickstarter pledge. You know, we wanted to tie the prices in with what we had originally set out.
Because the important thing for you guys is that technically you're an indie studio, aren't you? You don't have a publisher, a separate publisher.
No. This Elite's being published by ourselves. Yeah.
So from that point of view, you don't have the financial backing of a large distribution
advertisement and distribution.
You have to do this all yourself. So
everything's ourselves. Yeah. So when we went to GDC, that was by ourselves. It was off our own back, and we were recently at E3. And again, that was all.
Did you go?
It's the same as the film industry, though. Like, you get some people that are willing to pay £17 for a DVD or a short film that they want to be seen. And someone will put in the extra because they believe in the product, or they believe in the story, or they want it to see it made. So I do understand that people would, but £100 is a lot.
But again,
it's future-proof
on the development side, and I can also understand other people's
I think
reaction to it. But there's not really much more to say than has already been said by David himself. To be
Absolutely.
The thing is, Elite's got that following, hasn't it? From when we were all kids.
It's the cult following. Yeah.
So it's amazing.
But then if you look at other games of multiplayer online, you pay a premium for these things anyway. So
ridiculous. RuneScape's $50 a year.
Yeah.
A year, and that's.
And like I said before, the premium beta level that you buy now for £100 does include the future expansion.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
So you're paying for future things as well as a little bit of early access. I think it breaks down to something like you pay about £10 or £15 if you kind of break the cost down
for each DLC.
Expansion pack may be to get in early, as it were. So.
Cool. Right. So back to Russ. With obviously we've said that your games, so TerraTech is very physics based, and the thing we didn't really touch upon is that the world itself is procedurally generated. So what I wanted to discuss with you is that when you've been developing this game, have you had any funny mishaps? With
a blooper reel.
So country creation blooper reel.
I'm thinking of when they made Shrek, they rendered Donkey with the wrong length of hair, and they left it rendering overnight.
Oh yeah,
and he looked like a puffball. So I'm not expecting that. But have you had any amusing side effects from your procedural generation?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff happens all the time, to be honest. You could almost say that our development process is based on a series of funny mishaps. You know, some of the game modes that we now have in the game were discovered by accident, just because we made a piece and someone used it in a way we hadn't expected, and that turned out to be kind of more fun than what we thought it was going to be. But we you know, that's how all our flying stuff kind of where it came from. We never imagined that we'd have a lot of flight-based mechanics. We thought it was mostly going to be driving around. But it turned out that it wasn't too hard to do a lot of stuff that was really quite fun, so we left it in.
That's cool.
But yeah, I mean, you know, in any kind of physics-based game especially, all those sorts of things happen all the time. There's a very funny clip. We recently added this thing called the Sumo Showdown mode, where you have a sort of a raised platform, and 2 to 4 people will each build a champion vehicle, like a big heavy thing, and then you face them off on this platform, and you have to push the other ones off to win, or shoot their cockpits out, or whatever. It's a lot of fun. And there's a great video from either I think it's the night before last, from what we were doing on our live stream. 5 p.m. weekdays on Twitch TV. Come and check us out. It's a lot of fun. And we were doing one of these sumo wrestling matches, and I think the problem was that both of the contestants, they were kind of like half on top of each other, and they were sort of slightly locked together because the way they were designed. And I think both players hit the build beam at the same time, which is this thing that we put in to kind of pick you up when you fall over. And because the physics of that is not realistic, because it's designed to pick you up quickly, some weird thing happened, and both of the contestants just basically flew out of the ring and exploded.
Oh, amazing!
Which is way more fun than how you would normally have won that match.
There was a funny thing on Battlefield 4 when they released that. There were people doing odd things and putting rocket packs on
and
jet,
shooting people across the map and stuff.
What are they called? Jet bike things on the water. I can't remember.
Jet skis.
Jet skis. Yeah, so they were
jet bikes on the water.
Yeah, you know. I don't get it.
I mean, you always get that kind of stuff, and the way we try to look at that is it's a great source of new ideas. I remember when recently when we first put in the weapon kickback feature that would actually accompany the recoil of firing a ballistic weapon with a physical kick. When I was first testing it, I couldn't see it working, so I turned the number up really high just to make sure it was working, and I fired my cannon and my whole vehicle shot into the air. At which point I put 4 cannons on, pointed them all downwards, and I'd made a completely new kind of flight system.
Yeah.
And having done that, we're now determined that we're going to make an alternative sort of rocket effect that's based on an explosion rather than a continuous thrust, and just have a thing that can sort of fart itself along by continually blasting downwards.
That sounds cool.
It's going to be hilarious.
With stuff like that, are you planning on building any sort of options in that will allow people to change physics and that sort of reaction?
Well, customization definitely. Because it's a very expressive game and it's the sort of thing, we're really trying hard to build up our community and listen to our community. We think that modding is an absolute must-have for us because it's exactly the sort of thing people will go crazy for. The big question mark is over kind of how much access we expose and how we go about doing that, because none of us have actually made a moddable game before, so it's a new area for us.
Sure.
One thing that we'll definitely find a way to do is allow people to create mini games or kind of new rules for specific scenarios, because I can't wait to see. We've made 3 bonus challenge modes already for the game, and we've got another half dozen lined up that we really want to do, but there's no end to the things that you could come up with, and I can't wait to see what players are going to come up with. I'd love, for example, to see someone try and make a MOBA game out of our engine, because I think it would be hilarious, and it could actually be a lot of fun. So we're definitely going to do that, and then the next thing will be to open up the ability for people to create their own pieces, their own building blocks.
Yeah.
Certainly in a cosmetic sense, because people will come up with some cool stuff. And then maybe we actually let people just design whatever they want and make it work however they like. Obviously, we don't want to see people kind of breaking the game and spoiling their own experience by making something that's unbalanced. But I think things like Minecraft show that, especially if your multiplayer experience is server bound, then allowing people to set up their own servers where they can totally make their own rules and just rip the game apart and do different things with it is a healthy thing. So yeah, we'll definitely open that stuff up. Whether it goes as far as rewriting the laws of physics, we'll have to see.
I do love
that's what they're there for.
Yeah,
Rules are
yeah.
meant to be broken.
I do love when you just lots of games where you just turn up the sensitivity and then just the weirdest stuff happens. There was an annoying time when Tony Hawk's playing Tony Hawk's 2 or 3 back in the day, and they had moon physics. So, you go up the ramp and stuff and you'd be up there for ages doing tricks and cheating and all that sort of stuff. But when your mate runs into you just before you do it, you're flying through the air, can't do any tricks because you've fallen over, but you're still going up into the sky and then coming down really slowly.
Oh dear.
We had a similar thing with Coaster Crazy that we released a little while ago. We had a moon level.
Yeah.
And Johnny, the executive producer at the time, thought it would be cool if we had sort of gravity wells, but both ways. So adding a bit of gravity or removing even more gravity. So you could place down these things, and the more you place down, if you had them pointing down, which was the down, add gravity, it would actually react to the coaster and the crazies that could be ejected from it and stuff. And then obviously in the reverse, which was great fun.
I've not played it yet, but I've seen a video actually with you in it, showing Coaster Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last time.
Oh yeah, because you're in the advert, you're in the video. Yeah.
Yes, I'm the poster boy, sadly.
Poster boy.
You can't call yourself the poster boy. It doesn't work.
It's his birthday
Quick,
soon
someone
as well.
tell me I'm the poster boy.
You can be the birthday boy.
Ah dear. Well, back to Russ for a second. The one thing I was intrigued about is the idea of the game is to send back resources that you farm or mine, I suppose, from the planet and send them back to Earth. And you use these things called delivery cannons to do that. Did I say that a bit funny then?
Yeah, cannings.
Cannings. Delivery cannons.
I can't even say delivery now. It's
The receiving
contagious.
station is actually located in Canning Town. Not many people know that.
Oh, okay. This is very well.
Yeah, that's not what you're trying to get at there. Let's make sure that is.
Thank you for rescuing Neil's inability to talk normally.
I'm sorry for ruining it. I'm not sorry for ruining it.
You guys have got drinks. I'm in the middle.
I'm
of
out.
I'm
Are
out.
you?
Yeah, I'm out.
Oh, it's that time of night. Do you envisage going a bit further outside of your planet atmosphere that you've created and produced? Do you think you're going to have spaceships at some stage?
Yeah, we definitely love to. It's a common thing we get asked for, unsurprisingly. Another thing that people want to see is a planetary annihilation style, like an actual round model planet that you can sort of go out and orbit around, and that would be totally amazing. We're obviously, we're a tiny team, and we're just really trying to, first of all, get through our Kickstarter to make sure we can keep working on
which
the game.
which is something we haven't really given you a chance to talk about, which is a bit rude. So currently you are going through. You're about midway through your Kickstarter campaign, and you're about halfway to your goal as well, I think.
Yeah, we're just coming up to the halfway mark. We've got about 10 days left to run, so it's heating up now. It's still achievable, but we've had a really great response so far. It has to be said. There's a lot of excitement around it, and the game seems to be getting a very good reception from people who see it. And we're just really trying to get more people to see it now. I think that's what we've got to do. But yeah, we've got a Kickstarter running. Please come and check it out. Watch our silly faces trying to stammer out our lines before we corpse on the video.
That's a proper term for it as well. Corpsing. Yeah, I'm impressed.
Yeah, there was a great deal of that.
Not giggling like schoolgirls. It's corpsing, my friend.
Like we do on the podcast, Jimmy. So, when we talk about Kickstarter,
to return to your question, basically there's a lot of things like that that would be really cool to do that we can't wait to get onto, but we have to kind of keep our feet on the ground a little bit and focus on getting a game finished before we start doing the crazy blue sky features. Literally, in this case,
I was going to say the sky is the limit at the moment.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See, there's been 10 minutes, so there has to be another one.
No, I think you made it longer.
Did I?
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Good effort. But there are some things that are on the plan that are kind of getting towards that. So one of the things that we're planning to do is, rather than just keeping one game all on one planet, I mean, there'll obviously be multiple environments that you can explore and discover on that planet, but we also like the idea that you would move between worlds, maybe not by flying completely between worlds through space. We might need a bit of help from the guys at Frontier to get that done.
This could work.
But a system where you can almost like go to a different level. And we had quite a nice idea that you would sort of, once you've sent back enough resources through your delivery cannon to sort of complete that one world, as it were, you would then have to build a rocket to take you to the next world, or some kind of rocket-powered platform. And we thought that maybe, depending on how ambitious you want to go, the bigger a rocket-powered platform that you can build that's stable, the more stuff you can carry on it. So you could theoretically drive a whole bunch of your best vehicles onto this platform and then just make it blast off. And if it survives, long enough, then you get all that stuff to start you off with on the next world.
It reminds me a little bit of I think it was Black and White. Where you had to try and get as many followers through the portal before the portal closed,
right,
to get onto the next level. You could almost have that type of element to it. So if you got your planet's I don't know, going to explode, then you want to try and get everything onto the platform and fly off as soon as possible, and then go on to your next planet. Oh, we're being joined by the dog. Sorry, Poppy has made it in.
Tapping, and that is the dog.
Sorry,
it's an idea that we like. And, in general, like space physics or other forms of locomotion are things that would be great to experiment with. One of the things we get asked for a lot is water, like, lakes and rivers and water physics.
Yeah.
Again, it's a thing that we're really excited about doing as soon as we can responsibly get onto it without sacrificing more important things. The actual physics part of it, the Archimedes principle and all that stuff, is probably the most straightforward bit. More complicated with a procedural world is working out how to actually generate bodies of water that don't look stupidly broken. But we've got a long list of really cool things like that we're hoping to get to.
It's really cool. So, have you got a date when you think your game is going to be ready for general populace to use?
We're not committing to a date, but we are aiming for October, and that would be an early access. So it will basically, assuming we can succeed with the Kickstarter and keep ourselves going for the months between now and then, the focus in that time will be adding the resource gathering and base-centered progression mechanics, so that you've got that sort of long axis of progression to get your teeth into, and beefing up the world generation so that you can actually explore the world and we can transition through multiple environments. And then that means that we can set events and interesting things to find in those environments, so you've got something to sort of thread it all together. And then the other big feature that we want to commit to for that time period is actual synchronous multiplayer, because it's pretty much the first thing anyone thinks of when they see the game is actually battling their creations against other people. That's obviously a big feature, so we have a stretch goal for that on Kickstarter. And if we don't manage to make it to the stretch goal, but we are funded, we're going to look into other ways to continue getting funds in post Kickstarter to try and get to that anyway, because it's such a cool feature that we really want everyone to get it.
So you could potentially then, the people that have backed you and shown an interest, they could potentially help you after the Kickstarter, if they want to, if they can.
If they can, and for other people who haven't backed us. I mean, a lot of people have asked about having a PayPal account. So some people don't have credit cards for whatever reason and aren't able to back us at Kickstarter. We didn't want to start taking money by PayPal yet, until we look like we're going to get funded on Kickstarter, because it might be a bit awkward if we hadn't got funded and a bunch of people have given us money.
I saw this. There was somebody that I interviewed a little while ago with a Kickstarter, and they had a really promising game, and unfortunately it didn't make it. And one of the big problems was because they couldn't accept PayPal or some other, because it was all based in the States. There were some issues with credit cards and things like that people couldn't use for some. I didn't know. I can't remember what the full reasons were now, but they're looking to go again with this particular campaign, but hopefully everything will be in place for them to be able to bring that in. So yeah. So with I assume you're still there, because it's suddenly gone really quiet. There's no
Still here, absolutely.
Can I interrupt very quickly?
Sure.
Because I've got a confession. While the interview's been going on, I've been sat looking at your Kickstarter page, Russ.
Yeah.
And you were achingly close to that 17,000, huh? So I've stumped up, and you're now at £17,002.
What a hero! I saw the email come in, Adam, just before you said that. So thanks very much. That's great. Another milestone passed.
This is awesome. We're bringing
good stuff.
Well, everybody, do your part. Hey,
yeah, everyone. Yes, we're bringing the industry closer together. Join us, why don't you?
Sorry, guys, carry on.
On that note, and we're talking about Kickstarters and things like that. Obviously, a big part of Kickstarter is to get financing, but how else does Kickstarter help you get to where you want to go?
Was that at me? Or
well,
who's that for?
Shall we? That's a good point.
You can think it's good talking to each other.
How about you?
Both games work well.
No. We're not
Both
talking.
games were on Kickstarter, to be fair, so
They
I
were.
think it's a valid point for.
Well, my
both.
Kickstarter game, which is Theme Hospital 2, has not had many. Like
Wasn't there a Theme
literally,
Hospital 2 already?
I asked for a tenner and no one's even stumped up that. So there wasn't a Theme Hospital 2, but I've made Theme Hospital 2.
Have you?
Yeah, I've literally just rebranded Theme Hospital 1 with a 2 at the end.
That's good. That works.
Yeah, just printed out a load of copies of the front cover.
You might have a problem with the CPU.
Oh, I've done the
cycles, though.
voiceover as well, so you know that annoying woman that goes, "Oh, there's a person that I do that as well." So I get
You do all the
royalties.
voices. Oh, nice, nicely done. So, Adam, how has Kickstarter helped you, other than in the financial sense?
Well, I guess the biggest thing that we got out of the Kickstarter project was the confirmation that the game was still wanted. Outside of, because David B was getting emails, he'd get 2 or 3 every week, sort of saying, "Oh, when are you going to do the next Elite, etc." But you can't gauge confidence of mass market based on a few emails, really. So Kickstarter allows you to test the waters without having to spend loads of money doing
Marketing,
crazy marketing schemes or going to publishers and things like that.
Yeah.
And also on the publisher side as well, I'm not 100% sure what publisher would have taken Elite in the form that we've been able to do it. I think we would have probably hit some of the same hurdles that David and Ian hit back in Elite 1984, where publishers didn't want that sort of thing. I'm not sure how it would have gone. So Kickstarter and doing it yourself allows you still control over the game. So it allows you to, for us, it allowed us to check the market was there, and it's also given us this, great group of people that want to get involved with the development and the design of it as well. So lots of positives.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
How about you, Russ? Have you got any?
Absolutely. I mean, I'd wholeheartedly agree with everything Adam said. It's an amazing opportunity to do like a real market test and start confirming your assumptions, start building engagement with your audience. I think as well as all of that, for guys like us, who are like a small team with a new IP and don't have a sort of household name brand behind us, it's an amazing opportunity to get exposure that you wouldn't have had otherwise, because it creates a story. Where you're a small team, you're kickstarting, you're sort of being plucky, and you're putting up your videos, it's us against the world, that sort of thing. It's a great chance to just create a buzz and get people bought into the vision that we're going to try and do this thing together. We've multiplied the amount of exposure that we've had by several times, I think, over the course of this Kickstarter, which is just immensely valuable for us, because our big challenge is to get people to have heard of us.
Now you've had your experience of Kickstarter so far, is there anything you would do differently if you did another Kickstarter campaign?
Is that for me or for Adam?
Again, both of you, I think, for that one.
I think I'll step in quickly because
Sure.
I wasn't involved in our Kickstarter. I was on a completely different project at the time. So the kind of setting up of Kickstarter and how we do it different again, I'm not really going to be able to add much. So I'm going to hand over to Russ. I think he's the better person.
It would probably,
Sorry,
it'd probably be quite hard to come up with anything to do differently on the Elite Kickstarter, because that's pretty much the definition of a rip-roaring success. Hats off to you guys.
Comment.
Thank you.
Amazing.
We experienced the same thing. I think when I saw a tweet a little while ago of the kind of mid-lull of the sort of halfway through your Kickstarter period, and it starts to go a little bit quiet and you get a little bit nervous and you think, uh-oh, what's going to happen?
It's the hump, isn't it? You got the hump. It's the hump part of the week. You're not quite at the end. It's the...
Yeah.
It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday. It's a midvoc. Yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely been going through that, and fingers crossed. I think in terms of things that we've learned, there's certainly more, I'll have to say, I'm sure, after the end of it. It is, I don't know, one of the things that we kind of knew in advance, because everyone says it, is that it's a full-time job to run it, especially if you're a small group, and you really need to do as much preparation as you can in advance, getting the content ready that you're going to release, lining up for the things that you expect to happen to have to deal with. And we did try to do some of that, but I do wish that we'd had more time, because we have been just desperately trying to keep up with everything and make sure we've got more stuff lining up to come out. And it's quite a challenge. We've got 4 full-time people at the moment, and some other people helping us part-time. It is quite a challenge to keep prepping stuff to release, blog post updates, new tiers, at the same time as doing all the emailing and outreaching to everyone and going around promoting yourself as hard as you can, and also developing the game and trying to release a new build every couple of weeks and stuff. It's just... Have you got mentors as well? Mentors, like not Harry Potter, but like consultants that you have to like sort of bring in, and maybe like people that help you out from different... We've had some great advice, definitely. I mean, we've managed to reach a few people who've got some experience with it, and we had some really good advice. The thing is that advice is awesome, but it still takes time and effort to act on that advice, and that's the thing that's in really short supply. So if you're able to actually do all the things that you were advised to do and seem sensible, then you are winning. But yeah, other things I'd say. One thing that I wasn't really aware of until we were starting was the early bird factor. It's generally a common thing to do to have some lower priced, a limited number of lower priced versions of your low tier. I believe the Elite Kickstarter did that very successfully as well.
Yes, yeah, we have same thing.
Yeah, now I wasn't aware until we'd done it that there seems to be a point of view that these are bad, that there are some people who will say they won't back a project that's got early bird tiers, or it's either unethical or exploitative. I don't really understand the argument, to be honest. But
no, I hadn't heard of that myself.
Is it like a phone company saying, well, you've been with us, you get the cheaper deal, and the new people have to pay extra later?
It's a bit like going to, like, if we're going to use that analogy, it's like going to a phone shop and saying, well, here, you can have the first 10 phones for £1 instead of £150 or whatever.
Right.
So
what was for 10 customers?
Yeah. The first 10 people would have something free, or cheaper. But I don't really see the issue either, because the thing is it helps to drum up some trade, or not trade, but
it adds a sense of urgency as well.
It encourages people.
So
people
to sitting on the fence, they're going to do it, aren't they?
Which is no bad thing, is it?
Yeah, I certainly think it's an effective thing to do. But it was certainly news to me. But it does seem that in some quarters it's possibly an issue. I think if we were doing it again, we'd probably have had fewer. We'd probably have set the limit lower, because I think the point of the early bird is to stimulate interest early on.
Yeah.
And it did that job very well, and we still had like 100 left.
Yeah.
So we probably could have put the price up a bit earlier, but then you never know how many you're going to ship, right? So
it's the first Kickstarter you've done.
Yeah, First one that TerraTech have done.
Yeah.
I believe. Is that correct, Russ? I'm not making that up. This is your first Kickstarter campaign, or?
Yeah, well, it's our first Kickstarter campaign. It's our first game as a team. It's our, we haven't existed for very long.
It's a lot of trial and
trial and error. Yeah, a lot of firsts, a lot of trials.
Talking of, I suppose we move on now, because I'm conscious that we've been keeping you for far too long, and you're busy people. So we've got two separate subjects I just wanted to talk about quickly.
Come in.
The Vita. Sony recently turned around and said that they were going to stop the AAA support, certainly in the immediate sense, in the next.
Mainly in the West.
Mainly in the West.
That is because in Japan there's still quite a lot of desire
JRPGs. There's not many people who play JRPGs. I don't. Do you?
Play
you
what?
do.
I seem to spend a lot of time playing.
Japanese role-playing games. Yeah, you seem to spend a lot of time reviewing them.
Yes. That's the way we're going to segue into something.
Oh, taking off.
Oh.
Are you guys being with me?
Hello.
We've been invaded by a plane.
Which one of you's in London right now?
Sorry, I think it's me. It's gone now.
Sorry, we had a tiny plane going through the room at the time.
Wow.
There's a Final Fantasy T-shirt that's just popped out. It's a shame you can't see it on the video feed. Final Fantasy. That's a chocobo, isn't it?
It's an ongoing joke that Andy never mentions Final Fantasy VII, but Neil always has a go at him for mentioning Final Fantasy VII. So he's bought the T-shirt without mentioning it.
God!
So, an in-joke, which is awful to bring out.
It only works on video, and being as you're not, you'll be able to see it on the vodcast. There we go. So it's one of those crazy. Yeah. You'll laugh when you don't see it.
You won't laugh. It's not very funny at all, is it?
You laugh when you stop watching and turn on Mock the Week.
So. Do we think that the stopping of AAA titles in the West, as we've been reliably informed, is going to be a problem for the Vita platform? We'll go to Adam.
That's a hard one because I haven't ever really had. I mean, I had a PSP. I haven't had a Vita. I enjoyed my PSP, but I've never enjoyed it as much as I did my DS at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I thought it would be the other way around because the PSP is a kind of shiny, lovely looking piece of kit, and Nintendo always has a way of doing it in a
sort of kooky,
slightly immature way. That's
blocks.
fine. It works. It's still selling, and the 3DS is still an amazing piece of kit now.
Yeah.
So. How is it going to affect it? I think people are going to probably kick off because it's the West versus East thing again that sort of comes up every now and again, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's really going to affect it that much, really, because I don't know if it's that strong a contender at the moment. Now I say it.
Have you? We'll skip over that comment. Have you played Tearaway on the Vita?
No, I haven't. No, but I know some of the guys that work there. But no, I haven't played it, sadly.
So this might be the single most.
They cleaned up the BAFTAs.
It's a blindingly good game.
Yeah.
Really good.
It's an amazing. It's the storytelling's really good. The gameplay's really cool. The graphics are crazy.
And it didn't sell.
And it didn't sell. It's just a real shame, but because the Vita, because I've got one and you've got one, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So
So that's 40% of the population.
Yeah.
Have one.
So Russ, have you got any feelings on this? Are you a Vita owner at all? Or?
I'm not. No. I mean, having been in mobile development for so long before this, to be honest, I always struggled to see a place for the latest generation of handheld consoles. They're great devices and everything, and there's certainly some great games for them. But I think all this talk of lack of support for AAA is really a code for saying that the sales just aren't there. And I think the phrase they were using was the economics don't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
Oh well.
And slightly ignoring the fact that the economics of AAA in general, especially in the console markets, are increasingly shaky.
Yeah.
I just think it's hard really to see a continuing place for those kind of devices, except among a smaller and smaller niche of people who, of course, have the highest expectations for the quality of the stuff they're going to get because it's the Sony Vita, right? It should be great. But if it's not economical, what are you going to do?
So it's less of a.
It's interesting because the comments, I think part of the press release was that, in my view, they're kind of trying to target what people are using the Vita for, which seems like an absolutely sound and reasonable thing. The market, or the research they've conducted, or however they've got the information, I'm not sure, but it seems that we in the West are using it slightly different than the guys out eastward. So, it seems like a sensible thing to do. Maybe it'll work, and in a way, maybe that'll extend its life as such.
Yeah. What I will say as a non-PC owner is that it's proven to be very popular with indie developers, guys.
So Elite Dangerous on the
If you
Vita.
fancy it.
I'm going to say, not.
TerraTech on the Vita?
We have two on the line. Neither of them are bothered.
There was a stunning silence. I tried and I
Okay,
failed.
nowhere near that one.
Let's move on to the last thing then. So Neversoft merged with Infinity Ward.
They did.
Yeah.
That's Tony Hawk's meets Call of Duty.
Call of
isn't it?
Duty, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's also
And
Guitar
they did-
Hero, wasn't
yeah,
it? They done
yeah,
that.
they did
They
lots
Was
of
it Guitar Hero as
Heroes,
well?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I like Nevermore doing that, the normal, the cartoony stuff. I don't know.
There was a report that they gave a Bowie knife to every
They did,
Neversoft-
yes, I saw a picture of
They
it.
gave a Bowie knife for
a
what?
Bowie knife to every Neversoft
With the Neversoft logo on the blade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
a very impressive looking thing.
Yeah.
It was. Kind of
Yeah,
scary.
really?
Kind of scary, to be honest.
It'd be illegal in this country.
I would never want to upset anybody in that building.
I'm trying to picture what a Bowie knife is, because all I've got is David Bowie.
It's one of the huge knives. It's
David
about that
Bowie.
sort
Like a machete.
of- No, not that big, but proper.
It's okay.
large
It's
hunting
okay,
knife,
Dave.
sort
I'll
of-
show you a picture. We'll
Right.
pull out the
Think
pictures.
hunting
of-
knife.
I'm not an outdoorsy person.
Okay, never mind.
We've just put up the outtakes of the trailer that we did for.
Yeah, we
for
don't
the
need to
podcast.
discuss that.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
And you were being all kind of countryfied and whatever.
Countryfile?
No, not countryfied. That's a different thing.
Countryfied.
Countryfied.
What was I doing?
That's-
I was giving Jim to a load
you
of
were
cows
trying
that were in
to
our way.
you were trying to make fire. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh dear.
do we think this is a kind of a thing which is going to happen to a lot of different companies, though? They're going to end up merging or disappearing entirely, because Crytek obviously had an
Well, they're
issue
in trouble, aren't they?
recently.
Yeah, Crytek UK.
Yeah, so there's all sorts-
Infograms.
Infograms?
That's Team 17 is still a thing, aren't they?
Yeah, still,
Yeah,
Team
they're
17
still doing
yeah,
sheep. What's it? Flockers.
Flockers.
If you could merge them with another company, who would it be? Team 17. Like, it's got, imagine like sort of worms mixed in with another type of game. Warcraft. Right, Blizzard and
Worms
Team
of
17.
Warcraft.
Wormcraft. Perfect. The advertise, the marketing's there. What was that?
You already had Worms 3D, didn't you? So you need
Yes.
to kind of add it in with a non-3D world. You need to go.
I need to go 2D.
Yeah, well, no, 'cause I don't know. Maybe 4D.
Super Worm
4D.
Super
I don't
Worm
even know what that
Fighter
is,
5.
but you could do it.
There was a massive worm running around Rezzed.
There was a massive
Yeah,
worm.
I don't know, maybe that's, yeah.
that one runs around
I'm
most
guessing that guy
shows.
is very warm today.
There's a bloke next to him with an Ouya controller. Like, so I'm giving it. Work the tail.
Yeah, I don't know. You think there's two people that control that? Really? The worm? No.
It says there's anyone in the worm. Did you see inside the worm? Did you see a person inside the worm?
No.
No, you didn't.
It's true. You can only assume that
Disney,
there's one
animatronics.
person controlling each arm. That's what it is.
What arm? It's a worm. What worm?
It had arms.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
it
they
had
did have
arms.
little arms.
Well, they must
Yeah,
because they carry
The
the
little grenades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
hand grenades.
well,
Sorry, off topic.
maybe we should end this because we've been yakking for hours.
I've got a little weird.
You have.
Yeah, quite a long time ago.
So, Russ, we thank you very much for sticking.
Thank you,
with
Russ.
Yes, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And Adam, obviously, we thank you as well.
Cheers, Adam, dude.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
It's just
It's been a pleasure as always.
And if you want to decipher the comment from earlier about the Swedish chef socks, you
What?
should actually check out the video that Neil mentioned.
yes,
That will explain the comment.
yes. So that was on Twitter, by the way. So
I was going to say, I don't remember that conversation coming up.
There was a comment about Swedish chef socks.
Right, yeah, check our Twitter as well, at Expansive DLC,
It won't
and
be
then you'll give a rough idea of what the hell we talk about.
the
during these
approximation, approximately. But yes, have either of you got any final things you'd like to add? So if I go to Adam first, have you got any other things you'd like to just bring
I
to our
just want to say thanks for inviting me again. Well, not again, sorry.
You're, for the first time.
Thanks for inviting me.
Edit.
Introducing me. And I'd also just like to wish Russ and the team the best of luck with the rest of the Kickstarter, and I hope it really does. It gets funded.
And so do
Yeah.
Yes,
Well
absolutely.
said, Adam. Well said.
Yeah.
we. So do we. So
Thank
Russ,
And also, like Frontiers, like sort of should get involved in the whole like sort of space thing.
TerraTech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When two worlds collide.
Yes.
We're planning your futures for you.
I can see this working. Anyway, so Russ, have you got any other things you'd like to add?
Just to say thanks again, and thanks Adam for the kind words, and all support is very welcome. Thanks to you guys for having us on. It's been great fun, and I'm really looking forward to a time in the future when I actually have got time to play Elite, because I'm very excited about that.
That's true.
Excellent.
That's so nice.
I'm looking forward to a time when I have a PC.
I'm looking forward to a time when I can actually play games, because I don't seem to have any time at the moment. So run a podcast, you don't have time for that type of thing. So anyway, yes, thank you very much. Completely, because we've kept you for ages and ages, and it is much appreciated. So adieu. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Look at these. We're in the army now.
In the army
This
now.
is cozy, isn't it?
That's
Right,
status
so-
quo. Don't
Yeah.
make me sing quo.
Now wrong with the quo.
Well, except for a
Everything.
missing septum.
What's the missing septum between friends?